But you're always going to go back home. You're always going to go back to your roots. You're going to remember, the things that made you you. Again, with the song Castle on the Hills by Ed Sheeran, he's describing these experiences that made him, that shaped him. And that's why I went over this with you, right? Asking you, how did these experiences with all these new people shape you? How, who have you become? How far away have you strayed from your original origins of Indiana, right?
My hometown and my homies have impacted me so much, and they still support me now. It's super raw because I told them that I wanted to follow this video stuff, and it's so cool when I meet these goals here, because I always have the homies back at home be like, damn, you really did that shit, you said you'd do that shit, so like, I love them. I try to keep in contact with them all the time, because I truly do appreciate everything that they still do till this day, even if we don't talk a lot, but they inspire me now.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today we got a special guest. Man, he's a part of the Girls Weekend promo, touring with Tokisha, and he has a very, very distinctive style in shooting. Go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
OA, Ozzy Arias, Osvaldo Arias, 574, Red Tape District, from Indiana to Chicago. I'm Ozzy, bro.
Fuck that dude, bro. His ass canceled on me the first time.
Hey,
then he's over here saying, hey, I'm not going to make it 9 minutes before we're shooting. I was about to cancel his ass for real.
Hey, if you know me, you know I'm a jokester, bro.
I appreciate you coming, bro. Finally getting this shit done. But first we got to start off with the whole fucking camcorder, bro. You shooting VHS style. Go ahead and describe that what's it called? Not describe, but talk about that choice and what made you go that route.
I first went to LA. First of all, I'm just gonna claim that I'm not the first to do it. There's always arguments about that, but I went to LA with Pronto Spaz Out, had a good time, and I just like, the aesthetic of LA and Florida is always like VHS and shit. So I just came home to Indiana. I'm like, I'm gonna order me one of these, Got myself a couple of them, and I just thought they were so raw, putting like the cassettes, like, is also raw, like even like the hassle of like buying adapters to like use them on your new computers and shit. It's just like, it's the beauty of it. It's a hassle, but it's the beauty, So I just like started like using it and shit, and like the old style is just so raw, So I started using it. People started fucking with it. I was getting gigs just because of it, Mm-hmm. So I was just like, hey, if this is working, let's get it. I'm gonna run with it,
He said I was. Like, your ass still isn't getting gigs just because of it.
Fuck, man. It's a blessing.
How do you feel like this choice of shooting, right, in this specific style has changed the way you think as not only a creative, but also, personally? Because obviously there's so many trials that comes with it, trials and errors. Before you were describing to me that if that shit gets lost, it's lost. You can't do shit about that.
Yeah, bro. Hey, did I tell you that recently? I don't know. We were talking about that. You can have a whole video on that bitch and then go home, and it is risky to like, it can not be there when you try to transfer it, Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know. It's just such a like, it was getting me a lot of gigs, so I was just like, hey, even if it's risky, let's keep doing it. It brings an aesthetic that is just so raw. It's just like, I don't know. I just liked it more than the digital, and I just kept going with it,
Do you feel like it's been a challenge when it comes to that, specifically because it is an older way of shooting, obviously. So there's challenges that come with it, whereas if you were to switch to digital, that shit would just make your life 10 times easier.
It's not even 10 times easier. I feel like, people see it as it being like the easy way out, VHS. Like these festivals are looking for digital 4K, 6K. They want like the high shit, So that's where like, if you're shooting these festivals, with VHS, it's your networking, it's like your name, like that's what's getting you in those festivals with the VHS, because like they're only gonna approve the big dogs, they're only gonna approve the big cameras, So it's just like, if you're doing that shit going into festivals with VHSs and shit, like you raw, So it's just like, it's been super cool, getting all these opportunities, like Sueños with Miriam and shit. Like she was just like, I was really worried because I'm just like, she usually already has like high deaf video. She's so raw, you know. So it was just like, hey Miriam, like this is gonna be VHS, you know, like trust me with it. And she's just like, I trust you, you know. So it's like other like that wasn't the only one. There was Summer Smash and shit. It's been a lot of other places that like they've like blessed me with like the opportunity to shoot in VHS.
Weren't you at Baja Beach Fest?
Oh, dude, that was so raw.
Were you
bro.
shooting in VHS there?
Yeah, mainly VHS. Yeah, and I had a film camera. I had a digital, but I was just like, I'm gonna play it safe. You know, I love this shit. Like, let me capture something that she isn't used to seeing. You know, well, she does see that stuff, but it was like, let me capture something that's me.
For you, how do you feel like your current style will translate to later down the line, right? Because that's how artists are always thinking, how is my work going to continue on? How's it going to live up to the standards that I might have later down the road? A classic isn't built in a day. Is it playable over time? You know what I'm saying? And you see Drake's style change. You see Big Sean's style change. He went from freestyling everything to writing shit down. So once again, for you, you know, how do you feel like it will live on?
You know, the VHS for me, I'm trying to get rid of it, to be honest. If I'm being completely honest, I'm trying to get completely away from it, you know, and I'm trying to move on to Super 8, which is even older, you know. So it's like I'm trying, but that's even riskier. That's even harder. Getting cameras at work, that's like a whole. But I'm like, that's something I want to do. You know, I want to spend my time learning all that shit. You know, and it's honestly like, yeah, I'm trying to move away from that, but like, I'm even getting farther from digital. I hate, you know, I don't want to do that, but you know, sometimes you need to. My boy Zay has gotten me into the black magics and all that stuff. So like that's super raw, you know. So it's not something I hate, but it's something that I need to learn.
Why are you trying to move away from it? Like, this shit don't make sense to me. Most people want to go to 8K. Your ass wants to go fucking back in time.
I don't know, man. It's just like so cool, you know. I feel like, you know, that every day somebody comes up that's new, that picks up a new camera, and the chances of it is being a digital camera, you know. So it's just like I don't I don't know. I just digital's cool, but like it's not me. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to, so I'll move far away from it.
He said, I'm different. 2 Chainz. You're originally from a tiny fucking town in Indiana. Your life has come so far from there. In what ways have you changed from then till now?
You know, the whole idea of a small town mind. You know, like when I came to the city, like I learned so much in 1 month. Like it was so crazy, you know. So it's like I love my hometown, and that honestly, I love it more than ever, you know. But you know, coming to a big city is always like was always the goal, you know. Doing something big was always the goal, you know. And you're restricted back at home, you know. So Indiana has always is part of my identity. I'm an Indianimal, you know. I love Chicago, and you know, I love to call it my second home, you know. I love it here. You know, when I be traveling and shit, I've been to Boston, Philly, Florida, LA, but there's something about Chicago that's just so raw, you know. So I come back home, and they be saying it sometimes, like, good old Chicago, you know. So it's just like, yeah, Indiana's raw, but I'm learning to love Chicago.
Hey, in no way, shape, or form did you just answer my fucking question. Fucking guy, bro. No, that's raw, bro. I'm glad you love Chicago. But once again, in what ways have you changed? In what ways have you grown? You know, that's both personally and professionally.
I don't even know how I would answer that question for real. You know, you just opened when you learn new ideas, new cultures and shit like that, you know, you grow with that, you know. So like, you know, Indiana was just so small, and it's like, I don't know, it's like a small town mind, you know. When you go somewhere else, you know, your new experiences builds like a new you know. So it's a hard question, bro. I ain't gonna lie, but that's how I would answer it.
You better start thinking quick, because that's what this episode's based around, bro. Growth and change. So speaking of that, man, you know, these changes, they occur with each new relationship you build, each new relationship you have. And I see you trying to read that shit, but I got bad handwriting, so you cannot read that shit. In Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran, shout out Ed Sheeran, he says, I found...
You got Ed Sheeran on.
Yeah, I know. I did that on purpose. I found my heart and broke it here. Made friends and lost them through the years, and I've not seen the roaring fields in so long. I know I've grown. And just like I said, with all of these relationships, you lose friends, you gain friends throughout the years from where you're from, right? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people you left back home, but you made so many different memories with them. And you made so many different memories with the people that you've met here. So we'll go ahead and start with one of the most famous ones, King Inez. Go ahead and talk about your time working with her on the Girls Weekend promo that you guys shot for the 2022 Girls Weekend, as well as, you know, ways she's helped shape your mind, whether that's creatively, whether that's personally.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you something how I met Inez. I reached out to her for an opportunity, just like, yo, hey, can you through Instagram? I'm like, yo, can you hook me up and help me shoot the show or take me to the direction of who I can talk to? And she answered that DM and was so open arms, you know. And she was like, let's get it. Like, let me put you in contact with this person. They're the ones that's gonna do this and that. I'm like, that's who she is, bro. She's there to help you. And she's like one of those people who are like, you know, I'll do this for you and I don't expect anything in return. You know, she's so raw. Like, I feel like she's helped me, like, be open, you know, like, just be me, you know. Like, Inez does not give a fuck about what anybody has to say, you know. She's gonna be her regardless, you know. And I am a very emotional person, bro. Like, I'm very emotional. Everything makes me sad. Like, if somebody says something, I'll act like I don't give a fuck, but I'll take that shit to the heart for real, you know. Like, that's me, you know. And she's honestly showed me that, like, you know, just be you, be raw. And if anybody has, it's gonna be envy. You know, if anybody has anything to say, they're either gonna, like, it's because they envy you or some shit, you know. Like, because I don't know, I've always, like, I've been, like, very, like, I'm very insecure, but I don't be showing that shit, you know. But yeah, like, she's super raw. Like, she's done so much for me. I mean, she helped me shoot all these crazy ass artists, you know. And you know, when we work together, it's always on some fun shit. It's not no business, you know. And I would say that's how it is with most people in the city. You know, it should be business, you know. But with her, it's always like so much fucking fun. You know, let's turn up, let's go out. You know, are you sad? Yes, let's go out. You know, let's have a good time. You know, fuck that, we're still young.
She's ready to black you out at any moment.
At any moment, you know. She's so raw, man. Shout out to her.
Shout out King Inez, bro. She gets enough shout outs on this show too. No disrespect, that, you know, we love her. She gets a lot of shout outs on this show almost every week lately. Where do you feel like that insecurity stems from for you?
You know, my parents are super, they're both very emotional, you know. So it's just like, we care about each other's feelings, you know, we hear each other out, and not everybody's like that, you know. So, you know, when you start hearing all these people talk shit, you know, like, damn, I'm not used to that shit, you know, like, why you so mean, you know. But, like, I'm not used to that, you know, because that comes from, it's just not my parents, but my brother, you know. We all, like, you know, we care about each other's feelings, you know. So, like, not everybody's like that, you know. Through the road, there's going to be a lot of people who are very shitty and very blunt. But, you know,
That's the world we live in, you know.
it comes with all this shit, you know.
Especially all that criticism, right? Because you're always going to be criticized, whether you're the best artist in the world or not. People are going to be like, well, you could have done that better. You could have done this better. And sometimes, you know, we've talked about it a lot on here, that you're your own biggest critic. You're like, fuck, well, that was wrong. And if somebody finds that tiny little detail, you think the whole world saw that tiny little detail. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, for me, a lot of the time I'm thinking, like I'll give you an example. Last week in the video, there's a trash can right next to me. But I didn't realize the trash can was right next to me until I'm watching the video, and I'm like, there's a whole ass trash can right next to me. You can't really tell it's a trash can, but I know it's a trash can, so now I'm like,
you feel
well,
like
fuck.
Everybody knows.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where you're like, well, fuck. I don't know where to go from here. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta be confident in your abilities and confident in what you're doing. Let's move forward though. Next person, Diamond Visuals. How has he helped shape you both creatively and personally?
When I was living in Indiana, and I was building a you know, networking over here every weekend, every time that I could. It wasn't even every weekend. It was any time I could. I would make videos and post them, and when Diamond followed me and commented and like liked my shit, damn, I was like, damn, I damn near made it. You know, like he's such a, he's very low key. He's a very like talented guy. He's so raw, and it's always like he's always gonna ask about how you're doing before the camera shit. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing this. And he's a funny ass motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie. People don't know that Diamond is a funny ass motherfucker.
Because he be doing all these videos with guns and shit.
He crazy, bro. He's so talented. I love his videos. I fuck with all the shit he drops. It's all really creative, super fun. Coloring is amazing. So shout out to Diamond, bro.
So what do you feel like you've learned from him?
What I've learned from Diamond is that you can make trenches shit look super creative, and that's, it's not just go out and do running guns. He puts time and effort into his shit, and he'll make that shit look creative. I mean, Cole shouted him out on his shit, and Diamond deserves all that shit, deserve all that. And he's taught me that, even if it's like it can be a running gun, you can make that shit creative. You can make that shit raw. Shout out to him for that shit. That's how we try to, at Red Tape District, we try to be creative in everything we do, and we try to make some raw shit. And he's a mentor, to be honest. So if I know that if I ever needed him for something, and any help in any creative way, I know that he'll answer me.
Damn, bro, I didn't know your guys' relationship went that deep. To be honest,
he's raw, bro. It's like every time we talk to him, it's like, it's a good time. It's like with Inez too. It's always a fun time. It's not business.
So go ahead and talk about the What Up remix, doing the music video. Obviously, you were able to get some clips featured in the music video. So talk about that.
I was in the studio with Polo before that. We were just filming some shit, and then they're just like, yeah, we're about to go shoot this video. And then when I got there, that's when I saw Diamond. It was never meant to happen. Like, we never planned, like, yo, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I just ended up showing up, and he's just like, Ozzy, and we just like, he's like, shoot some shit, and that's how it ended up coming together, like, it was on some, like, last-minute shit. He saw that I pulled up, and I was filming. He's like, yo, send the shit that you got. Like, let's do something. Let's collab on it. And what's funny was because I don't know when shit's going to pop, I feel like Zay and Diamond both have that ear. They're just like, yeah, this shit's gonna go up, I didn't know that, and he's just like, what, do you want your name at the end of it? I'm like, nah, it's cool, bro. That was you, He's like, no, you gonna feel good when this shit comes out, like and it came out, and it was like the rawest shit, like it blew up, everybody was talking about it, and I was able to be like, take a picture of it, show it to my friends, and be like, yeah, I was involved, and Diamond before. If it would have been my decision before, I wouldn't have put my name on it, at the end of it, So shout out to him for doing that shit, because I didn't know it was gonna blow up like it did, to be honest.
Damn, bro, what kind of director are you, and you don't know when shit's gonna pop up, bro?
Hey, I have an ear for other shit, rap and drill isn't my best. It's not my forte.
No, The Weeknd and Harry Styles is.
The Weeknd, Post Malone, like that, Frank Ocean. That's been my vibe lately.
That's fucking crazy though. Like, I don't know, because your style is so distinctive. It's like Chicago people would know like that was Ozzy.
Or when that dropped, a lot of people were like, "Damn, you shot for Nuck and Polo."
So how the fuck did you link up with Polo beforehand?
My boy Brandon from No More Heroes. He's been blessing us. Been blessing me with opportunities like flying us out to different shit, shooting for artists and shit. And he was like, yo, Polo's coming through, you want to come and shoot? And it's just, he's another guy that's helped me a lot, So it was on some last minute shit. Yo, you want to come pull up and shoot? I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Tokisha, bro, go ahead and talk about her. What's it been like touring with her, and what have you learned from her and her team?
Damn, it's like a rap of what we've been talking about, bro. She's free, doesn't care about what anybody says. She's so raw. She does whatever the fuck she wants, and if she thinks something's cool, then she's gonna do it. She doesn't think about any of the other bullshit. She's so raw. She's been so much fun. She's very she's very loving. You know, she's very, very sweet. You know, people say a lot of shit about her on the internet. You know, she's completely opposite in person, like in a good way. You know, she's very calm, very respectful to every person. She will never disrespect you. You know, and you know if you're, for example, if you were a janitor, she'll treat you the same way. You know, as an artist, you know, she's super raw. You know, it's been super fun traveling with her and her team. Her team is super creative. You know, and you know it's cool because a lot of people that I've met around on tour, they've been like, how do you click up? They're so creative, they're super raw. Like, how did that happen? You know, it's not an offense like, yo, do you deserve to be on there? It's like how did you manage to do that? You know, so it's like a blessing, you know, because they're super creative. They're about to go stupid up.
So how do you feel like she shaped your mindset?
Like I said, bro, she's free, and that's how I want to be. You know, I want to be able to do anything without, you know, where we're our biggest critic. You know, and you know, like I just want to be able to do something without second guessing myself.
Yeah, she don't be giving a fuck.
All my time, bro. You know, and you know, in some way it could be a good thing, some way it could be a bad thing. You know, but like she makes it seem like it's a good thing. You know, she's so. Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it. She's so raw, bro.
For the people who don't know the story, go ahead and let them know, how did you get in contact with them and start touring with them?
It was Sueños. I was shooting for Miriam, and the night before, Miriam opened up for Tokisha at Mansion, and I'm like, fuck it, let's do it, you know. And you know, when she performed, she was so raw. I'm like, damn, her style is so raw. So then the next day, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna add to a video that I can edit for her, for Toki, and I'm just like, let me shoot her set at Sueños. So then fast forward, I put it out. I tagged her whole team. Her manager just texted me like an emoji, I think it was like a fire emoji or some shit. And you know, we always kept in contact. You know that little, if you stay in their inbox, you know, if you get that accept, you know, like always keep that connection, you know. So I saw that they were going on tour. I'm like, I DM'd them. I'm like, yo, let's work, let's do it, let's go on tour. Let me go on tour with you. And you know, that was always a goal for me. You know, let's go on tour. I want to be able to travel. You know, and her manager was like, yo, how much will you charge me? I'm like, man, I just want the experience. You know, let's do it. You know, and he's like, fuck it, let's do it. You know, and that's literally all it was. You know, he was just like, fuck it, let's go.
They're paying for your shit, right?
Yeah,
like
hell
your
yeah.
flights, the hotel
Hell
room,
yeah.
food.
No,
You're being
shout
fed.
out
You're
to
not
them.
starving. They're not
Shout out to
starving
them,
you.
bro. No, hell no. They pay me really good. You know, it's a blessing because, you know, you don't usually get that. You don't usually go on tour and get paid really good. I got that, you know, and it's a blessing, you know. So shout out to them. Shout out to Paulus Music.
How do you feel like you've been maintaining your mental health while on tour, man? I feel like that's a big thing that you got to focus on. And, you know, it can be a struggle because you're away from the people that you love.
First of all, I hate traveling. I wish I could travel without flying. That shit, like,
You don't like flying?
I hate flying. The turbulence and shit got me, like, grabbing on to shit, like freaking out, and everybody's taking a nap still. You know, I hate that shit. But it's just really busy. You know, you don't sleep much. You know, you're always awake. You're trying to keep in contact with your family, your friends, and shit. And of course, I got red tape back here. You know, and I feel bad when I'm not putting in that work for red tape. You know, so that it just gets really frustrating with a lot of shit. You know, you got a lot of shit going on, and then you, on top of that, you still have to fucking put out all this content out with them. Turnaround times are very fast, but yeah, bro, it's on my mental health. It is stressful, but at the end of the day, you gotta realize, you know, it's a blessing.
And that's what you signed up for, obviously. Or like you literally hit them up and said, like, hey, take me, please.
Facts, you know, exactly. No, like that is what you sign up for. You know, no sleep, working, but traveling is a beautiful thing. Seeing, like, building those experiences, meeting new people, and it's just like it's super fun, super raw. You know, tour is so much fun.
So let's go ahead and talk about, you know, your closest relationship here in Chicago, your Red Tape District partner, Zay Visuals.
No, that's my boy, bro. He's in the room right now, but I'm gonna say all these things about him. He's so raw. He's blessed me with a lot of opportunities. I consider him my brother. You know, like it's always love before the business, and you know, we're two different people. You know, so our ideas are always getting us in arguments, but you know, we know it's for the better. We want our company to be big. You know, so if you have two brains put together, you know, with different ideas, you know, that's big. You know, that could be something big, and we have big plans. We want to make them happening, and they're slowly happening. You know, we want like the tour with Tokisha is a beautiful thing, but there's nothing bigger. There's nothing better than coming up with your people. You know, the people that you love, the people that you actually believe in. You know, so you know that's what with Red Tape we've been working with really closely with some artists. You know, and shout out to Motive, shout out to Kato, and shout out to Guapo. And you know, those are the people that we truly believe in, and you know, that's who we want to come up with. You know, and Zay and I really believe in these guys. You know, so Zay and I are always working really closely together. You know, and you know, we've started something big. He started something big, so we want to be the first to break a Latino artist.
You guys are looking for Latino rappers. What is specifically
We're
are you
looking for
looking
anything. You know, we're looking to work with anybody. You know, there's no limit. There's no restrictions. You know, if you raw, then we're gonna work with you. You know, and if you believe in us, then we're gonna make something dope. You know, every single time.
An important thing you said there, though, is, you know, not always seeing eye to eye, right? A lot of the times you don't see eye to eye with these people that you're in creative spaces with because you have different visions for things. You might want to obtain the same thing. You might want to have the final result be the same, but your path to get there and the way you think you're going to get there can differ, right? And I think as time goes on, that idea is obviously always changing. That's the one thing they say about relationships, and we're not going to get into relationships, but that's the one thing they say about relationships is that it's never going to stay the same because it's always two people that are continuously growing, and you got to be accepting of the change. Otherwise, it's just never going to work.
Facts. You preaching, boy.
For you, how do you feel like the differences in you and Zay have strengthened your relationship?
We bring new things to the table every single time. You know, we're in this because we love this shit. You know, so I feel like there's if you both have the same ideas, you know, you're gonna make something raw. You know, you're gonna make shit go up. But if you have two different ideas coming to the table, you know, like there's always gonna be arguments. You know, it shows how much we love this shit. Because if you really didn't give a fuck about it, you could easily just walk away. Because nobody wants to wake up and argue with people. You know, so if you really arguing for this shit, like it shows when he argues with me, brings something up. You know, I know that it's for the best. You know, when I first met Zay, he's not very. He don't be hugging nobody. He don't be saying love you and shit. So, like, you know, when I argue with him every single time, it'd be like 20 minutes later, I'm like, give me a hug, you know? So it's like, you know, we really love this shit. So, you know, if we have to argue, throw a couple hands and shit, no, but, you know, it's because we love this shit and we truly believe in our brand.
In what ways are you guys different?
Just how we came up. He came up in a city. I came up in, you know, like, the burbs type feeling, you know, like
You grew up in cornfields, not even the burbs, bro.
you know, the other day we were talking about like, man, I'd miss my prom, my homecoming and prom. Like that was raw to me. That's like the hometown, like football, Friday nights and shit, soccer games. Like that shit's like the best thing you could get over there, you know. So like, and he doesn't give a fuck about that shit, I'd say, you know. So like, it's a lot of little things, you know. It's not like something big like I can point out. It's just like at the moment, like, yo, I agree with this. I want this. Like, yo, let's do this. And it's like, I'd be completely different, you know. With our logo, we went through like 20 different logos. And we sat for like 8 hours in a studio going back and forth. We scratched so many logos, you know. And it's just like, because we both had different ideas of what we wanted, but we came out with something raw, you know, something that we both still to this day really love, you know. So that would be like a good example, you know, our logo. You know, both we wanted this, we want that. And with our merch, it's even worse. With our merch, it's like, yo, I want this, I want that. We've been in months just going back and forth, you know. Yeah. But it's because we want to put out good shit. We want good products.
That shit has to be terrible, having to go through like a whole nother person's approval. No offense, bro, but like I couldn't imagine, because the amount of time it took me to get my logo done, because I had someone do it, but I kept having to say, fix this, fix that, fix this, fix that. I can't imagine having another person's input on that shit. You know what I'm saying?
When we made our logo, we sat in that studio with our friend Brandon, who made the logo for us, and we just sat there and listened to music. They were showing me like Chicago music that I had never listened to. They were like, yo, this is raw. You don't think this is raw? And like we were like feeling our type of music. We saw each other's like why we wanted this, why we wanted that. Like, let me show you.
So why red tape?
Zay had built something. He already had a fan base, you know, and he already had the idea of red tape. He wanted to rebrand and make something bigger than what he had, you know. And you know, that's when we became really close, and I was very invested in the idea. I'm like, yo, that sounds raw. Let's make something big, you know. And when I moved to the city, that I would say that was a big reason why I moved to the city, because I wanted to be involved in what was to be red tape, you know. And you know, like, red tape is, you know, we have a lot of people who fuck with us, a lot of people who truly believe in us, and that's what's been super raw about it, you know. And you know, like, I wouldn't want it any other way.
Bro, you still not answering the question, bro. Why red tape? What, like, why did you pick the name red tape, bro? Why did
we pick the name
Where did
red
tape district come from?
It was Zay's brother, right? Red tape just came through Zay's brother. Ask Zay that question.
Y'all don't even know why you chose the fucking company's name, bro. What kind of shit is that? You didn't tell the story of how you met Zay.
So Pronto Spaz Out was going crazy, and he was just like, yo, let's go to LA, because I was shooting. That's when I met Drip in Indiana, and I'm just like, I was shooting shit for him.
You met Drip in Indiana?
I met Pronto and Drip at the same time. They were going crazy in Maryville. They had like parties after parties, and he was opening up for Pronto and shit, and that's when I met both of them. And I made Pronto a video. It was like a twerk fucking festival. I don't know what it was, but they were going crazy.
You said, I made him some ratchet shit.
Some ratchet shit. But no, they were going crazy. But then Pronto, we were DMing back and forth. He's like, yo, I'm about to go to LA. Let's go. I'm like, fuck it. So then I had found out that Zay was going to go too. I like hopped on his live and shit. Like, yeah, we gonna go crazy over there. You know, it was on some like social media shit.
So you knew of him already?
A little. He definitely didn't know about me, but I kind of did know about him. But then when we got to LA, the first thing Zay ever did was hand me a blunt. You know, if you know me, I don't smoke at all. So it was just like some funny shit, you know. We went crazy over there in LA, shot some crazy shit for Pronto, and then we came back and started working together in the city.
So the lyric I took for this one was from Big Sean. It's in his song Wolves with Post Malone. I can't break a commitment. I done seen people fuck up the whole team because they couldn't play their position. Talking about they didn't mean it. And a lot of the times, right, when you start a team, people don't want to follow their role. People want to say, I'm the leader, I'm the leader, I'm the leader. But not everybody can be the fucking leader. Some people got to play the position where, okay, let's work the background. Eventually, everybody's going to blow up. This person's going to blow up. So I helped them. You would think that people are going to, you know, repay the favor. You can't say everybody will, but, you know, most people, they're going to work with the team that they came up with. So knowing your role and playing your position, that's very important when it comes to working together, right? For what have you learned from working as a team?
Divide the roles in different situations. You know, Zay and I are always working towards the same goal. We're always trying to break somebody in our group. We always want the best content out. You know, so like those roles switch all the time. You know, you have to go pick up this camera. You have to go shoot this. Like, you have to edit it. You color it. You do this. You go meet this person. You go talk to this person. Like, it changes all the time. you know. So, you know, when we're not on each other's, when we're not like putting our part in, that's when the arguments happen. That's when we're like, yo, you need to do this more, you need to do this more, you know. But we've gotten so comfortable with talking to each other about each other's roles, and they change all the time.
If one of you, and this like a more technical question, right? If one of you decides like, I don't like the color grade this person does, are you gonna go ahead and fucking redo that shit, or are you just gonna be like, fuck it?
No, we're gonna want to put out the best, you know. And if he were to truly believe that that's the best coloring, then, you know, we meet each other in the middle. Yo, can you tweak this? You know, I'm cool with this, but let's tweak this. You know, like that. That is that's where the arguments happen. You know, that's what's we have two different ideas, two different creatives, two different like what we want for this shit.
And you know, just all the work that you guys have done, it really shows, you know, how far you've come, from that little small town in Indiana, right? Because one conversation that we did have, you know, prior to us ever meeting, literally our first conversation was, we don't want to live regular lives. That we always thought that there's more to life than just being average, you know, having kids, you know, having a house, all that shit. And that really stood out to me when we talked, because it's like, this is another person that understands what I'm fucking saying. That I'm not just talking bullshit every time I come on this podcast and I'm like, hey, I don't want that average life. And, you know, that was the conversation I had with Ozone, where it was, he chose living that lifestyle of the nightlife, the parties, over pouring into certain relationships, over choosing to, you know, settle down. And it's like, now seeing the other side of that, it's like, okay, where do you find the middle, right? So for you, what do you think created this thinking? Why did you feel the need to find more out in life, right? Leave your little small town in Indiana.
I just hated working, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You could call me lazy, but like I cannot. I recently had a job where I had to sit for hours on a desk. That shit fucking sucked. You know, like, if you truly believe that you can be big and you could be something bigger, you know, you cannot sit down doing something that you don't love. If you know, like, I can be bigger than this. I can find a different way of making money through the shit that I love, you know? And it honestly is like, who's going to take that risk? So if you take that risk, I respect it, you know, because not everybody wants to get out of their comfort zone and, you know, risk not being broke, not making the best money. Because shit, in Indiana, you could work at a factory and make hella money, you know, but I hated that shit. You know, like, I worked factory jobs, but that was just nothing that, like, it was so miserable. And that was around the time where I was driving to Chicago all the time. I'm like, this shit's getting me the money to do that stuff, to fund that stuff, but I don't want to be doing this shit. So, like, I left, and I feel good about it. You know, like, I still would rather be broke than be broke and do the shit that I love and that I truly believe in, that could in some day make me way more money, you know? And I'll feel good about myself. I'll feel like like I accomplished my goal, you know? And I feel like, you know, doing a routine, you know, I respect that shit. I got homies back at home who work that factory job every single day, and respect to them. You know, they got they want to build families and that shit, you know, and that's super raw, you know, but I always wanted something bigger. You know, every person's going to be different. You know, never disrespect the factory job, you know, like, because they're working their asses off. My parents came from that shit, you know, but I wanted to be something bigger, you know. So I left, you know, till this day I'm still working every single day to make that big money, you know, doing what I want to do.
I think about that a lot of the time when it comes to my friends, right? Just like you said, I have friends that are okay with living that average life. And I always feel bad saying, you know, average life, because that's really what it is. Just like you said, it's a routine. You wake up every day, you go to work, go home, eat, sleep, repeat until the weekend, and you do something different, like go out on a fucking date, or, you know, little shit that makes your life a little bit different than every day. And to me, that's just not an ideal way to live. that's not an ideal way to wake up and say, every day's the same. Okay, you had a kid, right? The kid adds a little bit more to your life. And every day's going to be different with them. But aside from that, what did you accomplish in life? What did you accomplish to say, hey, I'm satisfied with every single thing that I did? To me, my ultimate goal is, make my name known. Let people know, like, this is the message that I was spreading and this is what I did to make sure that I had an impact on people. And some people are okay with having an impact on 10 people, one person. I prefer to say thousands, millions if possible. You know what I'm saying? But you're always going to go back home. You're always going to go back to your roots. You're going to remember, the things that made you you. Again, with the song Castle on the Hills by Ed Sheeran, he's describing these experiences that made him, that shaped him. And that's why I went over this with you, right? Asking you, how did these experiences with all these new people shape you? Who have you become? How far away have you strayed from your original origins of Indiana, right? Because how long have you been out here?
Like a year and a half.
So you've been out here a year and a half, but you've done so much more than you probably were doing in Indiana. You've gone on fucking tour with one of the, up and coming Latin artists. In the song, his second verse, he says, I was younger then, take me back to when we found weekend jobs. When we got paid, we'd buy cheap spirits and drink them straight. Me and my friends have not thrown up in so long. Oh, how we've grown, but I can't wait to go home. And just like I said, you're always going to have that connection to home. You're always going to feel like, this is my place. Just like you said about Chicago. Yeah, Chicago feels like home to you. It's your second home. But nothing's going to replace those memories that you created with your homies back home. The people that shaped you.
That shit still inspires me now.
We talked about the famous people and how they shaped you. How did your, homies back home shape you? And give a shout out to them.
Shout out Baca. Shout out Pedro. Shout out all them. Shout out Ruben. That's the experiences that I built like during high school, all that shit like still inspires me now. The last song that I just shot the other day with my homie Motive, Here's to Life. It brings me back to like those memories back at home, like the shit, the going to parties and shit like that. Like all that shit is so raw. Like my hometown and my homies have impacted me so much, and they still support me now. It's super raw because I told them that I wanted to follow this video stuff, and it's so cool when I meet these goals here, because I always have the homies back at home be like, damn, you really did that shit, you said you'd do that shit, so like, I love them. I try to keep in contact with them all the time, because I truly do appreciate everything that they still do till this day, even if we don't talk a lot, but they inspire me now, so shout out to them. They, like all those experiences, like all those artists I used to listen to that bring me back to high school and shit, like Trippie Redd. Those are people that I be seeing a lot here, that I be working with, like not directly with, but I be shooting some shit for them, and it's just like, damn, I did that shit, and that builds from, sitting back and listening to them back in high school,
Before we close out, man, I want to ask you, you've come so far. Obviously, you've toured. You've experienced a lot in this world, and, you're building your own brand, just like you said right now. You've been able to work with artists like Trippie Redd, Tokisha, G Herbo, all these artists that you might have looked up to at one point and been like, how the fuck do I get there? But you haven't lost exactly who you were before, right? So what's a lesson you learned from Indiana that will forever live on with you, that you'll carry with you anywhere in the world?
Appreciate what you have. Appreciate your people around you. Like no matter who you work with, the people that you build experiences with, the people that you truly care about you are the reason that you're getting those experiences, So, did I answer that question?
Fucking finally answer the question. The last question of the podcast.
I be getting off topic for real.
That staying humble part, that's the most important, right? Obviously, because wherever just like I said, wherever you go in life, you got to remember your roots and you got to remember where you come from, and being able to take that time and reflect is always going to be important, because you always want to remember the moments that made you and shaped you. And just like I said, that's what this episode was about. So the more you grow, bro, just always remember where you came from.
Hell yeah, bro.
All right, guys, that's going to be all today. Thanks for watching. Make sure you go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you check out Ozzy Arias on Instagram.
Ozzy Arias _
Fuck him. All right. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
Broken pieces, who's to blame?